Ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy Rico back at it again. And like I said, folks, I told you Fridays was the live show. It's the Rico Report. And guess what? I told you, man, I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation for 2 weeks. And then in September, it's on, man, because I got to switch up. So it's going to be 2 nights a week. We're going to be going live. And that being said, I have myself a fantastic guest. I've been wanting this individual on this platform for a long time now. So I'm going to introduce my guy, Marcel Louis Jacques. What is going on, my guy?
Man, I knew you were going to nail it on the first try, too. I just knew it. I'm great.
I appreciate that, my man. So I have to ask this because we talked a little bit in production, but I didn't get a chance to ask this to you. So Marcel Louis Jacques, that last name is a familiar one to me. So I need some clarification. Is there any Caribbean background? Do you have a Haitian background?
Oh, yeah. My dad is the entire side of the family, born and raised in Port-au-Prince. I shouldn't say raised. He was born in Port-au-Prince. He came over to Queens when he was 12. So,
Queens.
Yeah, back in that.
So hold on. Do you speak a little bit?
Man, I wish. I grew up I'm too Californian, man.
Oh, you're too Californian. Yo, but you know what? But you might be able to understand. So, moi apprécier que là avec Jodian, n'a fait ça, n'a boulil, we're going down. That's what it is. I'm gonna keep it at that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Buffalo Fanatics. This is my guy, Marcel Louis Jacques. I'm your host. This is the Buffalo Fanatics. It's the Rico Report. And like I said, this is gonna be a hot show. My guy Marcel is he's giving us his precious time, and without further ado, we're gonna get into it. There's a few things that I want to jump into. COVID. This COVID thing is throwing everybody off, and sincerely, how are you dealing? How are you coping? How's the vibe where you're at?
Man, it's been tough. I see people saying it's a crazy echo here.
Oh, there's an echo. Hold on, let me try to fix that.
Let's see what here.
Let me try to fix that real quick.
These comments.
Yeah, it gets that way. So hold on, let me get this. Let me get that. Is the echo still there, folks? Let me see if the echo is still there. Is the echo still there?
I don't think so, because I could kind of hear it too now that they have brought it up. But it sounds good now. But man, COVID, it was tough out here. It was tough out here for a few months because New York was mostly New York City, not necessarily in western part of the state,
right?
But New York State was hit pretty hard back in March and April, and so it was there was not much we could do. It was a lot of just staying at home. The off season felt even worse. Off season's already really slow and kind of mundane when there's no free agent news. But man, not even being able to go to the gym, go out to eat, go to the mall, go around people. So it weighs on you a little bit. And thank God that New York, the state took that stuff seriously. And now, man, like if it weren't for the plexiglass between tables at restaurants and the mask signs, man, you wouldn't hardly know that we're still in a pandemic, man. It's really a blessing.
Is that the new norm now? Plexiglass all over the place, mask and gloves and all that stuff. Like we're gonna get used to it at one point.
I mean, you do it. I mean, you get to a point. So leaving my house for the past, we'll call it 15 years, man. It's always keys, phone, wallet. I do the whole check, pat left pocket, right back. Now it's keys, phone, wallet, mask.
Yeah.
Like I gotta have the works, man. Like I got the whole. I'm about to have the little Batman utility belt.
Listen,
with
you might
my wipes and whatnot too, man. Like it might be the new normal, man. For at least for the very foreseeable future.
For sure, you might have to get yourself a little fanny pack, my man. It's convenient. The rock fanny pack. You need that.
You might be joking. You think I'm joking? I got the Adidas jar hanging from my door right now.
Okay.
It's ready. It's ready.
You now have been in Buffalo a year and change, and I see you talking about food. It seems like you love food. You know what I'm saying? So what are spots that you have frequented that you're like, you know what, this is the joint? You've been to some not so great ones. You've been to some good ones. Where's that spot where you're like, you'll find me here because that's where the food's at?
I think, anybody who follows me on Twitter in this chat probably knows that, I'm at Macy's Pizza at least a couple times a month. Not just for the pizza, though. That's the thing. Like I had somebody ask me, how you keep eating that pizza, man? Like how you stay so fit? Like how you look so lean, da-da-da-da. It's like, well, because I don't just eat the pizza there, bro. Like those are my favorite foods in town. Like that's my. I don't just go there for the little pie, but ironically, you know, right down the street, it's my favorite Mexican food spot in town, Taqueria Los Mayas. Man, you know, being from the West Coast, that was really important to me. Was to come in here and find a good taco like off top. And so the girl I was dating at the time and I, that was like our first maybe 5 or so dates. Was that we're going to like taco. We're going to Lloyd Taco, we're going to Deep South, we're going to Casa Azul, we went to La Divina. But man, at Los Mayas, I'm telling you, that was yeah, La Divina is good too though. Like I don't want to put them down. Like both of those places I think will fly out west. As far as soul food, man, Buffalo Soul, that had my heart. That had my heart, man. I don't know what they did with this chicken, their signature fried chicken. But it was like every single bite I had that. I had some mashed potatoes too, and I think some greens. And every bite was just like, man, like a tear to my eye. Like, let me put the plate down for a second. Let me call somebody, please. Like,
let me tell you something. Do you know how refreshing it is to hear someone speak of food like that? You have genuine joy when you talk about this food right now, real quick.
Shoot, man, like I eat, bro. Like I might, you know, I might not look like it, but nah, bro, I eat. Like I
hear you,
food, bro. Like that's what.
Hey, but yeah, listen, man, you still looking lean, so that's what works, man. So speaking of the food, there's always, we talked about earlier, you know what I mean? Some people have things they want to say about Buffalo, this, that, and the third, yada, yada. What is one underrated fact about Buffalo that maybe not a lot of people know that you have noticed and you'd like to put people on? An underrated fact, maybe small, maybe big.
Let's see. I hate to keep circling back to food, man, but like people really don't think that we're eating this good out here. Like they think they think it's just wings. They, you know, they think it's just wings, and then even then,
that's what the fans make it feel like. Hey, we're gonna bring some wings to the airport, and we're gonna. That's what we hear. Outsiders, at least.
But it's not like it's really. There's more. You got your Italian. There's Mexican spots. Clearly, they got your soul spots. Like there's a lot of great food out here. Appreciate that, Martin. But a lot of good food spots out here, and then the diversity of the city. Now, like. I will say, you know, comes with the caveat because, you know, there is, you know, it feels kind of segregated in the city at times.
Okay.
Where certain ethnic groups stick to certain parts of the city, but there is a little bit of everyone up here. And I really didn't expect that because this is a city, you know, I grew up in, I'm going to say it 100 more times. I grew up in California, man. Like Buffalo's not at the forefront of our minds.
Rep your city. You got to rep your city, man. I get it.
Hey, you got to, but like, truth be told, like I really couldn't. I before I got here, I probably couldn't have picked Buffalo out on a map exactly. I had no idea where in New York it was, and so you know, to come here and to see all this melting pot of people, to see everybody kind of welcoming each other, welcoming me into town, giving me all these food spots to say, like it was just.
I like that.
It was a real surprise,
man. My guy Brett Holmes says when Charles Clay was here. He said that's what brought him around, man. It was the food. The food was where it was at.
I don't know about being what brought me, but it might be keeping me here at least for a little bit.
My man Sean Wood says Los Meos got Mexican Wolverine. Great service. Signs his name on the check as a Mexican Wolverine. I don't know about that, but you might know something a little about that.
Man, see, I'm a to-go kind of guy. Like I like my food. I like to eat it at the crib, man. So like I usually don't dine in like that.
The comfort of your own home. Ain't nobody gonna interrupt you. You just want to eat and just do your thing. I get it.
Exactly. Throw what I want on TV. I can hear it too. I can rewind if I can. Like
I like it.
Nah, that's my vibe. Or
go ahead. What were we gonna say?
I'll say, I need to do this more often. The little marina here in downtown. There's a spot. It's like a marina with a park attached to it. Beautiful, right on the lake, man. Like there's nothing like grabbing some food, grab some tacos and a lawn chair and just kind of like watching that sunset down on the water.
This guy, we learning things about Marcel today, man.
Sentimental cell out here, man.
I like that. So I'm gonna say something though, because last show I had, I was teasing because I'm Canadian. I'm from Canada, so we're gonna talk about that a little later. But I said if I were from Buffalo, what part of the city would I be from? And the amount of answers I was getting, and then somebody made it clear to me that, like you said, it's segregated. East town of Buffalo is more the African Americans, the blacks, and I think the West or the South is more Hispanics. North is just more of your older folks. I'm not sure if I'm getting this right, but like what you just said, pretty much just corroborated with what somebody was telling me. And I don't know the geographics of Buffalo. Is that somewhat similar?
Yeah, that's more or less. I think South Side, you're gonna get more like, I think that's more Irish. I believe like South Buffalo. Just based on me, I don't spend a lot of time down there, but that's based on my drive-throughs. That's when you see a lot of the McHenry's pubs or the O'Sullivans and whatnot. I think West Side is it's more, I think, Burmese population.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so there is a melting pot, man. That's
dope. Really, it's wild. And I think Puerto Rican as well. I live in Allentown, like right on the edge, like right near like Niagara Street. A couple blocks.
How ironic is
it?
That?
Just goes from like, just to see. I mean, so when I drive to Orchard Park, you know, I got to go down Virginia and I got to get to the 190. You know, people in the chat, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about, but don't come see me. You know, not but I got to drive down there, and it goes from, you know, college bars to Hispanic neighborhood or Puerto Rican neighborhood. Like,
I like that. Like this.
Like you blink and it changes, and it's great like that. You know, I don't want to say, I say Hispanic. I hope that I'm getting that term right. You know, I'm not here to offend anybody.
Nah, man, we're going to drop that because we don't want to offend anybody. We'll just get off of that. So we're going to play this game right now. Get ready to get your brain working. You know what I'm saying? It's called 2 words. I'm going to name a couple things to you. I got a list, and you just got to give me 2 words of whatever I tell you, what comes to your mind. And if you want to elaborate a little more on it, then you can. Are you ready, sir?
Let's run it.
Here we go. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
2A, 2B.
2A, 2B. Okay. I'm not gonna question it. I'm gonna go with that. I want to go a little further than that. I'm gonna tell you. I don't know if you were affected by the Kobe Bryant passing, man. I am still in deep hurt. That's my guy, Kobe. I don't know. You're a California kid, so you must have grown up watching Kobe.
Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna sit here in front like I grew up loving Kobe. I genuinely grew up hating Kobe Bryant. I was a Sacramento Kings fan, and I watched this man end our season year after year after year. But nah, man, like that hurt, man. Like you just felt for that family. You felt for him. Like I could say a lot of things about Kobe Bryant. I couldn't say that he wasn't a good man. At least he didn't age, you know, into a good man, a good family man. He was doing so much for the game of basketball, for women's basketball. He was such an inspiration to so many people that that was tough. Even now, it's tough to process. You see,
it is, man.
I like if you remember, like, man, like, because it's crazy. I was like, say at the barbershop right after it happened, and brought up a good point that it makes it so wild because like we are not losing. We haven't lost any of these basketball legends, not really, but like these guys that we're still running things in like the 60s and 70s are still around. Bill Russell is still here. He was just tweeting the other day. Like Bill Russell's still around.
It's craziness, man. It's craziness. So I like that. 2A, 2B. I'm gonna leave it at that. Here we go. Ready? Buffalo wings.
Built different.
Oh, I like that.
Built different.
Built different. Here we go. Buffalo winter.
Bad vibes.
Bad vibes. Bad vibes. Let me tell you something. I remember distinctively a clip or a video you took, and to this day I remember it. You were walking back from the stadium to your car. You had no hat. You had, I think, just a scarf. I said, what is this man thinking? Walking to his car with all that wind, and you sitting there filming. I was like, yo, you're a brave man. What were you thinking with no hat, no scarf?
Like, it wasn't that bad when I entered the building.
Oh.
When I left the building, it was just, you know what, like, now I know better. Like, I should have thrown my sunglasses on. Like, I should have thrown the little hat on. But, like, I wanted just I go through that pain for y'all. Like, that was my folks on the West Coast who are asking me, so how's the Buffalo winter? This is how it is, bro. Like, this is Buffalo winter to me.
Bad vibes. I get it. By the way, This is the Rico Report. You are listening to myself and my guy Marcel Louis Jacques on the Buffalo Fanatics. Just Go Bill says smash that like. So if you guys are listening and you guys are watching, smash that like, subscribe, just because Marcel is here. Show my man some love. I appreciate that, Jez, and let's keep moving. By the way, you are a natural because earlier I put up a little something. Yeah, I appreciate that, Martin. You got in there real quick. I like that. Here we go. Next thing up, Canada.
Let's see. Less expensive?
Depends on where you are. You go to Vancouver, you're gonna be paying some money. In Toronto right now, yo, everything is going up. So
I always say this because of the outlet, because I'll go to the outlet mall because it's cheaper than this outlet mall.
Hey, listen, man. Less expensive, I'll take it. Because it's 2 words. I'm making it tough for you on purpose. All right. Here we go. We're getting a little tougher now. Here's one that everyone's gonna be wanting to listen to. Josh Allen, dark horse MVP.
Josh Allen, dark horse MVP. Put money.
Yo, I like Marcel. I like you, boy. Put money. So you believe it. The hype is real.
I think it's a good bet. Maybe I'll change that to good bet.
Good bet. I like that. Good bet. I like you, Budgie. Buffalo small media.
Buffalo small media. A lot. There's a lot. There's a lot more. So coming from Charlotte, there weren't many of these, there weren't blogs, there weren't independent websites, there weren't podcasts like that. Here, man, it's just like when I got the, sent the announcement, hey, I'm coming to the beat. I mean, just the emails, the DMs, it was almost like overwhelming. Like, wow, like that really out here. So either a lot or really here. I like
that. Because that's facts. Because even myself, I'm part of the Buffalo Fanatics, but like there isn't just the Buffalo Fanatics. There's the Cover Ones. There's the Cold Front Report. There's a whole bunch of these guys that are out there doing big things, and you can get what you want where you want it. It all depends on your flavor and what you like. So that's I like that one a lot. Here's one for you. Our defensive front.
Defensive front. Deep talent.
I like that. Okay, here's one for you. Brian Dable in 2020 season.
Brian Dable 2020 season. Let's see. Earn money. He
better earn that money this year. By the way, there's a bell that comes with this show, so don't be alarmed by it because the Bing Squad will let you know they're in the building. By the way, shout out to the Bing Squad. Let's go. So earn money. I like that. He's got to earn his money this year. That's for damn sure. Stephon Diggs.
Alpha receiver.
You know what? I don't know what you know or how long you've been following Buffalo, but we haven't had an alpha receiver since I would say Stevie Johnson maybe Stevie Johnson. And before that, it might have been Eric Moulds. Like an alpha true dog receiver. So if you see Stephon Diggs as the alpha, I'll take it.
Alpha receiver. And I want to make quite clear though that I was a big proponent of John Brown last year. I even said it, John Brown must be Latin for wide receiver one because that man is a true receiver. He's a complete receiver. He's just not like they needed that. They needed someone else. And I think Diggs is going to take this offense to a next level. But I think John Brown is absolutely capable of being a team's leading receiver, as we saw in 2019.
Over what, 60 catches, over 1,000 yards.
But career highs, every category, ran every route on that tree. He was a reliable target. He's not necessarily that guy that's going up and over a defender. He's not going to out-muscle somebody to the ball. I think that's something. Diggs is not an imposing physical specimen, but I think he is somebody who can win that contested catch. That's more his game than it is John Brown's.
And to add to that, I feel that Stephon Diggs, the element that Stephon Diggs brings that John Brown doesn't quite bring is that yak, is that catch the ball, make a move. I'm not going down and go. John Brown is more if I can separate and there's no contact, I'm gone. You ain't catching me. But Diggs has got that dog mentality. I'll give you 2 words: dog mentality with the alpha male. I'll go with that. We almost done this list, my friend. Buffalo Bills Super Bowl champs.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Okay.
Coming soon.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Okay. I'm going to take that.
It's got to be a little question mark on there too, though.
Yeah. Okay. Cam Newton versus Josh Allen right now comparisons. Right now. Now, before you answer that, you were not. I follow you. I listen to you. You were not a big fan of the comparisons because they're 2 different quarterbacks in terms of mentality. Physically, sure, but now that you've seen a second year of Allen with what Cam Newton that you know of Cam Newton, what are your 2 words? Can you say there's a comparison?
That's tough.
And you can pass if you'd like to.
I think that might be my 2 words right there. That's tough.
That's tough. I like that. And last but not least, and you could use how many words you want on this one. The perception, and I'm curious about this myself, the perception of Buffalo Bills to you while you were growing up.
Perception of the Bills when I was growing up.
Right.
Y'all might be mad at me for this one, but
go ahead and say it, man. Speak that.
Ugly jerseys, to keep it a buck.
You gonna make people mad.
I don't like the red helmets. I didn't like the weird nameplate on the jersey. That wasn't for me. But they weren't a laughing stock, man. It wasn't. You gotta understand. Like, I grew up a Raiders fan, so like after like 2003. My team was the laughing stock. Like, I was in no position to be making fun of anybody else. So all I knew about the Bills was they had good running backs on Madden, but them jerseys was atrocious.
Now, what era you talking about? You talking about like that 03, 08-ish?
So we're talking like, forgive me if my order is out of order, but McGahee, Travis Henry.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Had the stripe on the back of the jersey when T.O. was part of the squad. I know what you're talking about. I know I wasn't a big fan of that, but the jerseys now, though, clean.
Jerseys now are fine.
And let me tell you, because you're a Raiders fan, I had Raiders all up in my mentions when I was talking about how clean. I think we have the cleanest uniforms in the league. And it said, no. You can't talk about cleanest uniforms until you see the Raiders. I said, man, y'all are just black and gray. Come on now. But they are clean. I'm going to give you that, and I'm going to just leave it at that. All right, so there we go.
The Raiders have not literally never changed their jerseys.
You can't just maybe a hue or a change of shade. That's as far as it's gonna go.
I think like change it to what? You know what I mean? Like I remember they did like a silver alternate, and it was just like, this is whack. Like,
yeah, you silver black. What it is, but I'm not gonna hate on you because that jersey combination that you spoke of, I actually would agree. Now, most folks are going to say that the red helmets, though, they do like the red helmets. They're trying to bring that back. So I'm going to just leave it at that. So moving on, my friend, we're going to get to the nitty gritty stuff now. Now we warmed you up. You ready to go?
Now I'm talking.
So, now we're talking. So you are going into year 2 as the Bills reporter. All right. You were with the Charlotte Observer for about a year and change. Respect to you. Now, I did see an award that you achieved. It was the APSE Breaking News Award. I need you to speak on that. What is that exactly? So
it was it represents the, I guess, most impactful breaking news story of the year. For example, the one I won it for was Eric Reid's drug testing during the 2018 season, and how the story it beat was Kawhi Leonard requesting a trade for, so everybody has that reference of what kind of stories are in there. But, how that started, they were playing Pittsburgh. Carolina's playing Pittsburgh, Thursday Night Football. They just got smacked, man. Like, that was one of those games where it's like, I'm looking, it's like 10 o'clock at night. Like, man, what am I going to write about? They're down by 35. Like, this is bad. And Eric Reed gets kicked out the game for, I think, a legal hit on Roethlisberger. So after the game, that's all everybody's talking to him about. And behind him, like, I just see I see the drug test notice taped to his locker. So I pulled my partner Jordan aside. I was like, hey, are we allowed to ask them about that? She's like, yeah, why not? So after everybody had cleared out, I went up to him and I was like, hey, I see your notice to take this drug test. Is this normal, or is this like a new normal ever since your collusion case opened up against the league? And that's when he told me, I've been tested, like, this is like my 5th one since I've been here. They're not going to catch me on anything. He'd only been around for like 7 weeks or something like that.
Yeah,
7 or 8 weeks. And so, I tweeted it out, and, it got some traction. I think Gabrielle Union retweeted it by the time I got back to the press box. And I was like, oh, man.
It's over with.
It's out there now. God, this is, hey, look out, D-Wade. Hey, chill out. And then I think 2 weeks later, I'm in the locker room, and I'm about to leave because he's got like a scrum around him. And I don't like, if I have something specific to talk about the player, like I hate doing it in the scrum because that's our conversation, I feel like. So I turned around and I was about to leave, and I feel somebody like slap something, like piece of paper on my chest. And Eric had like showed me another drug test notice. He's like, oh, they did it again.
Damn.
So we spoke a lot more about it that day, and that was a Sunday. So that Monday, I sat on my couch, man, for like 9 straight hours, and I read through the league policy on substance abuse and on performance-enhancing drug abuse to see which one his fell under. I called statisticians from Davidson, from UC Berkeley, just to get a sense of like how crazy is this for him to get, 5 or 6 tests in however many weeks. And it ended up turning into the NFL opened an entire investigation about it, just to see, like, is he actually being targeted? And they determined that he wasn't. To this day, I'm not sure I believe that.
Me neither. I'm with you. 5 times? No,
I'm not sure I believe that. I don't see Eric Reed as the person to lie about that. But it left it as is. And so I won that award, and that was what was wild is, so I got to Charlotte October, and I wrote that story in maybe like November. So like I'd been on the beat for maybe a month and a half or so.
Quick. And
wrote like an award-winning. Yeah, it was crazy, and it was funny. I called my friend of mine. His name is Master Tisfatchin. He works for Bleacher Report. He did the whole does the Untold Stories series.
Okay. I like those. Okay.
Yeah, so like I called him afterwards. I was like, "Hey, dude, like I just got this," and this is when they announced the top 10 before the winner. So I was like, "Dude, I made this top 10," and he was like, "Yo, like you don't understand like how big this is. Like this is about to open doors for you. This offseason. Just be ready." And I mean, sure enough, to this day, I don't think I would be on ESPN's radar without that story. So I'm grateful.
You put the work in. So, and I'm gonna segue into something, because breaking news is such a thing, right? And I think it was Denzel Washington that said it first. He says a lot of people want to be first instead of being right. There's such a thin line between breaking something first and it blowing up in your face. And I speak on that because it happened to us. We had Jeremy Maclin was kind of teetering around and going somewhere, and Buffalo Fanatics said that, hey, he's coming to Buffalo, and there were rumblings that he was coming to Buffalo, but guess what? It blew up in our face, and boy, they let us have it, right? So just not too long ago, we broke the Feliciano news getting hurt, and even then, before we did it, we had to make sure, we had to check this and check that and make sure. So it's such a thin line. How do you deal with getting information from someone? And in this case, this was right in front of your face and you got it from the source. But how do you deal with that? With getting information and breaking it? I'm like, I don't know, I'm not sure. And then somebody else breaks it. How do you deal with that?
It's I gotta say it depends on the story. And it depends on who it's coming from. There are certain people where if they tell you something, you could single source it and it's out. And in that case, if it's a single source type of story, I will generally, and this is just for our company, I generally send an email, out to our news desk, out to some of our national guys, like, hey, this is what I've got. And they'll let me know if they want a story or not, or I just, fire a little tweet out and then fill in the details later. But sometimes, yeah, you do need multiple sources. There is I don't want to, without getting into specifics, there's a story somewhat recently that, I got a tip, but I couldn't substantiate. It didn't hold up by itself. And so then I need to make enough calls that I feel comfortable with the information I have. And sometimes, sometimes that does blow up in your face in ways that you don't understand. Like sometimes I've had stories, and while I'm looking to, feel comfortable with the information I have, while I'm trying to double and triple source, I have had it broken. I've had somebody else break it.
That's the tough part.
And that is, don't get me, that is extremely frustrating. But the payoff of being first is not a greater feeling, like is not greater than the shame of being wrong. And that is why I would rather be second and right than first and wrong. And
I totally agree with you, because we were there, and I heed the words that you say, because it's a thin line, because people want to hear it, but then when you're wrong, boy, will they let you know, and they will let you know. They let you hear it loud and clear. So we're about to get into some Bills content, Bills questions. Some fans, I'm going to take some Q&A shortly. And by the way, I can't neglect the Bing squad. I can't neglect the people watching right now. If you guys are watching right now, smash that like, not for me, but for Marcel. He's here dropping dimes, dropping gems. My man's hair is growing. He's got that COVID hair. You know what I'm saying? He's tying it back. You know what I mean? So good on him. You know what I'm saying? So everybody, smash that like, show some love. And if you want, share the stream. We're going to keep it rolling. So here's the deal, my man. I need to know the comparison between Carolina and Buffalo, the community. When you left Carolina and you came to Buffalo, I know you were there pretty much the same time, like a year and a year, right? So is there a vast difference between the people, the community, the vibe?
Yeah, I think that, first and foremost, like there is so much going on in Charlotte and just in the Carolina community that if the Panthers aren't good, there are fallbacks. They've got the Hornets, who aren't really good either, but they got the Hornets. They've got NASCAR. There's golf out there. There's college sports are huge. Clemson is about 2.5 hours down the road. UNC, Duke, Wake Forest, NC State. These are all short drives from Charlotte, and it's what's the word for it? It's kind of like how nobody's really from Atlanta, just people move and end up in Atlanta.
I live in Atlanta.
People from Charlotte, people just go to Charlotte.
Okay.
And so they bring their allegiances with them. And I don't want to say that the Panthers fan base is not loyal, but it wasn't like it is here. So for example, I was there October to July. I think October to June, technically. The day that I announced I was taking this job in Buffalo with ESPN, I had 5,999 followers. And y'all listening to this, I don't keep count of my followers, but I just happened to wake up that day and see the exact number. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm one way from 6,000. That's the only reason I remembered it.
Okay.
All right, so I say, hey, I'm coming to Charlotte, blah, 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 or I'm coming to Buffalo. And by the end of the day, I think I had 13,000 followers just from Bills fans who were smashing that button before I had said a word about Buffalo. I hadn't even seen the mist from Niagara Falls, and these people were ready to take me in here. So
that's dope,
it's so passionate. They care so much. They want every little detail, man, and
they crave it.
They crave it, and it's nice because it's not fun reporting on a team that nobody cares about. Not to say nobody cares about the Panthers, but I just wasn't getting that kind of reaction from Panthers fans compared to Bills fans. It really was. And what's even more impressive is there were fewer outlets to get that information from in Carolina.
Yeah.
There were fewer outlets. We had the Observer, we had the Athletic, and ESPN, and the Roaring Riot or Riot Report. Really, that's the big four outlets here. And I mean, here I need two hands. I don't want to start naming them off because I know I'm.
I hear you, man. There's a lot, like you said, a lot.
It's a way more saturated market and just such a more passionate fan base.
Yeah,
and that I will say without double tracking.
And that being said, because there's a lot of content and a lot of people bringing in information, that's why you have the game has to be stepped up so you can stand apart from the others because there's so much. There's good content. You just got to stand up. And speaking of standing up, so you're going into year 2 now. I need to know from you the recap from what you gained from year 1 of the Buffalo Bills in 2019 to what is about to happen in 2020. What can you tell us from how it ended to now what you're seeing materialize into 2020, and what can you see going forward?
And we're talking, this is about the team, right? Like what's going on with the
correct. That's correct.
On the field.
Yes, sir.
I think we saw a team last year that earned its way into the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but it did so by being very one-dimensional. It did so by this defense keeping it in games, winning games, and keeping it in some games that ultimately the team as a whole should not have been in. For example, that Ravens game. Team as a whole should not have been based on the play of that offense that day. Defense was kept them in there.
100%.
Same with the Patriots in week 4. It's happened. It has happened repeatedly. What I think they realized this offseason was that exact fact that, hey, we just had an easy schedule and won 10 games. That's great. We are about to play some of the most high-powered offenses in the league. And the way that this league is turning and the way the AFC specifically looks, we need to be able to keep up. And that's when you saw Brandon Beane go out and make that move for Stephon Diggs. That's where he goes out and grabs guys like Gabe Davis and Isaiah Hodgins and Zach Moss, just to make sure that there are as many weapons as humanly possible for Josh Allen to develop and for this offense to score more points. And so I think they're built for that. It's unfortunate that this has been such a truncated offseason. It's unfortunate that this pandemic is plaguing our world right now.
Yeah.
And so it might take some time to build that chemistry and to build that continuity. But I think the pieces are there. And I said it right after the trade that there's no more excuses for Josh Allen. And a lot of people got kind of, I don't know about a lot, but some people got defensive about that. And they say,
do. That's Buffalo, man.
Does he ever make excuses? He doesn't ever make excuses. He doesn't. Everybody else does. The media does. The fans do. Everybody else does. Oh,
make
look
it for him.
Oh, look what he's dealing with. Oh, look at now there's no excuse. You've got you've got your, one of the best groups of pass catchers in the NFL right now in terms of wide receivers and tight ends. You're going to have one of the better run games in the league right now. You've got a line returning all 5 starters with the exception of Feliciano. He's going to be out until we're looking at week 5, week 6, give or take. There's no reason on paper why he should not succeed this year. And so this is a major year for Josh Allen, and thus it's a major year for Brandon Beane because this is Brandon Beane's guy. Like, it doesn't matter, doesn't matter how good, usually doesn't matter how good of a roster you build. If you pick a franchise quarterback and it flames out, you're on the hot seat. You're on the hot seat. And so I think that, things are looking good for him right now. Things are definitely trending toward, okay, Josh Allen, at the very least, they're going to pick up that 5th-year option. He's going to have to – I think he's better than Trubisky, and Trubisky is just the latest example I can think of who didn't get his option.
He's better than Trubisky.
He's better than Trubisky. He's earned that 5th year, no doubt. But what's next? The way that these quarterback contracts are coming, man, and how the salary cap might look next year, we're looking at a $20 million deficit from where we are this year.
There's a lot in question.
There's a lot of questions marks, but he's going to be looking at $33 million or up per year just based on how the quarterback market has continued to develop. Are you willing to spend $30-some-odd million on Josh Allen right now? And that's something, if you Bills fans, if you really took an honest look at yourself in the mirror, is Josh Allen a $33 million quarterback right now? I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't say that for sure.
And that's fine. And that's fine. I'll say it. No, he's not right now. He is not. And I've had that conversation with a lot of folks, and it makes them upset. But I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to say it like it is. And let's keep it a buck here. And I like to say this to people. Let's keep it a buck. When you look at him statistically, he is at the bottom half of the league. Statistically, when he's passing the football. So you can't tell me that he's on his way to, and these are folks that are saying he's the MVP. He's gonna be that guy. And I'm not trying to make it controversial. It's just that you've got to get your statistics up. And if they're not up, I'm sorry, you're not gonna be in that conversation. And especially, you ain't gonna get paid $33 million. However, the market is a different ball game. And that's just what it is. He might even get that money. You never know. But is he worth it? Not in my opinion. Now, I do want to bring this up because there's going to be a lot of position battles on this team. So I'm curious, what is a position battle right now that is underrated, that nobody's talking about, but that should be brought to the front lines, that people should be paying attention to?
I mean, nobody wants to talk about specialists, but while everybody is looking at CB2 between Norman, Levi Wallace, I don't hear any noise about Stephen Hauschka versus Tyler Bass.
Okay.
I think people need to realize, like, Brandon Beane loves his draft picks. All right. Like, that's why parting ways with so many of them to get Stephon Diggs is such a big deal and such a sign that they're going all the way in. They just spent what was it, a fifth, sixth round pick on Tyler Bass on a kicker.
Right.
When 1 year after, less than one calendar year after extending Stephen Hauschka. Look, we heard from Heath Farwell, this is Stephen Hauschka's job to lose. Of course it is. He's the veteran. He's been there for 3 years already. Of course this is his job to lose, but you don't spend you don't spend a draft pick period on a player you don't think they're going to make the roster, especially not a kicker, when there are so many that you could just pick up either through free agency or or undrafted guys out of school. No, they thought enough of this kid to say, we're going to draft you.
Is Hauschka gone?
I'm leaning toward Tyler Bass. I need to see, I kind of need to see it. And I would like to see this leg in person.
I respect it.
He's got that. They're saying, he's got the strongest leg in college football, or coming out of college football last year. This is a wind tunnel out there in Orchard Park. Stephen Hauschka has, he's been reliable enough, but he's not that lengthy guy. When you're 50 yards out, Stephen Hauschka has not been that reliable kicker over the past couple of seasons. And if Tyler Bass can do that,
that's a big element of the game. Special team,
big element of the game that opens the field up for you. That opens that eases the mind of an offensive coordinator and a head coach when okay, we're on their, we'll call it 41-yard line, 38-yard line. I feel comfortable sending my kicker out right now. Like, I don't feel like I have to go for it on fourth down.
I like it. I like that a lot.
Points. If that's the focal point, is scoring points. Those are points that were left on the table.
Yes.
Last year. And I think so. Yeah, I think that's a position battle that needs some more attention.
I like that, and I think that's going to be something that a lot of people are going to start to pay attention to, because we did leave a lot of points on the board, and I feel that this drafting of the kicker spoke volumes. And Hauschka has to be sitting like, damn, man, they drafted a kicker. I got to get my act together. And he could do everything he needs to do, but he's got to be leaps and bounds over Bass, in my opinion, for him to retain that job. If he's even, he's leaving. That's just my opinion. I'm a coin that one. But let me bring it back. So, in your opinion, right now, the most underrated player on this Bills roster?
Underrated player on this Bills roster? Yeah, I mean, I don't think John Brown gets the respect he deserves. If I'm, speaking from a standpoint, like a national standpoint, the most underrated or underappreciated player on this Bills roster, it's got to be either Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, or even Tre'Davious White. Just because I don't think nationally these guys get the respect that they really deserve. But even now, you're starting. Obviously, Trey gets the All-Pro nod. He's on people's radar. Micah Hyde, I've seen him make a few people's top 10 safeties list in the league. So, I would have to say it's got to be then Jordan Poyer. This is a guy, he can play deep. He can play in the box. He's a reliable tackler. This guy, I believe he's a triple-digit tackler each of the past 2 years, but I could be wrong. Not afraid to hit, plays the ball well. I mean, they're just he and Micah are so interchangeable when it comes to what they do well. And that it's really kind of head scratching when you think, why does Micah get even the little recognition that Micah gets? Why is Poyer not right there? And
those two together, I think, are going to really solidify the back end of this defense. I mean, they already have been, but the fact that when you're now, the contract is out of the way, you can now play freely. You don't have to worry about anything. You go hard. I'm looking very much forward to it. Now, we're coming near the end of this. I do have a question for you when it comes to press conferences. All right. Now, I have a personal beef with press conferences, and I got to get this off my mind. All right. And it's a tough one because I don't know how many, like, let's just say you guys are on your Zoom calls. It makes it even tougher. There's maybe like 8 reporters, 10 reporters. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. But how hard is it to get your question in? Is it competitive to try to get in there? And whether you were there physically last year or now on Zoom, is it be in the press room to get your questions off to the players, to the coaches, or whoever's in there?
It's just such a different process right now because in the room when if we're getting Sean during the week, it's not very hard. They go for so long that, like, more often than not, like, you're gonna be able to you're gonna get your question in, or there's just so many people there. So on Wednesdays, on like quarterback day, there's so many media outlets there that somebody's probably gonna ask your question.
Right.
But when it comes to being in the locker room, I'm one of those guys. I don't like asking my question in the scrum. I think I said it I alluded to it earlier. I don't like asking my question in the scrum. I would rather pull somebody aside one-on-one if they've got the time. That's my preference.
Yep.
But so that way I'm not battling with the TV cameras who they've got to get their bite. I'm not trying to stand on my tiptoes with my recorder, like, hey, you see me here? Like, it just feels a lot more casual. So I try to see, okay, this is where the scrum is. Like, this is where the circle of cameras are right now.
Right.
Let me go see if I can get Dion for a second. Let me go see if I can talk to Isaiah or, just try to grab somebody when there's not a lot going on. And I think guys are more receptive to that because it's just less intimidating than having 100 cameras pointed at your face.
For sure. I totally get it.
But when it comes to now, like the Zoom call, I guess the trick is just to get in there as early as possible. Like, I like to, if I know I have a question that I really want to ask or need to ask, then I try to get in that room even before the meeting opens. So I'm waiting 20 minutes before it starts.
Okay.
So I'm the first one in there and I can raise my hand and say it. But this is just, now it's so hard, man, because
I bet
there's the follow-ups are kind of frowned upon. When guys come on, and PR is doing everything they can. I understand that this is such an unprecedented situation for them.
Yeah.
But like the start times may vary. Sometimes the guys are early, sometimes they're late. That end time is firm. They are done. They are done at 11:15. They are done 20 minutes after the original start. They got to go to meetings. They got to go to practice. So you can't be, you can't elaborate. You can't ask more than one question. You got to be kind of singularly minded when it comes to these interviews.
Are there any unwritten rules in the press room that you're like, you just don't do that? You just don't ask that question.
Let's see. Talk about questions. They're not questions. Talk about are really frowned upon, and that's every
talk about
yeah talk about this defense you're facing. Talk about X. That's not a question, that's a statement, and it's very easy to turn that into a statement. If you want to, instead of talk about the Ravens blitz coming up, say, what is it about the Ravens blitz that makes them so difficult, that's made them so successful? Like, you can switch it around so that you're not demanding, because like I don't know, like I think a popular criticism of or critique of media is entitlement, a sense of entitlement. And by telling somebody to talk about something, like you're saying, you owe me an answer, talk about it.
Yeah, talk about this and elaborate. No, exactly. What specifically do you want to know?
Exactly.
What I'll be like.
And there's also like, you got to go into there knowing like these guys know more than you. That's why we're asking them questions. So like, don't come in there with like, it doesn't really matter how much research you've done unless you can back your statement up on spot.
Right.
You know, don't elaborate with all of these. You know, after 4 yards, you know, I noticed that you take 2 steps instead of the natural 3 chop. You know, out of your brain. Like, don't do that. Don't try to sound smarter than you are.
Yeah, like, I get it.
You're smarter than us. This is why we're here. Don't like accept that. And I think that's just a personal. That's a personal.
I appreciate that, because a lot of the times when I'm watching these press conferences and I voiced my opinion, and I feel like and you don't have to comment on this. If you want to, you can. Some of the questions are like, oh, are you kidding me? Did they just ask that question? Like, that is a elementary question, right? And it irks me because I'm like, there are some really deep dive questions that you can ask to really get some stuff from these players or coaches. And then you have an elementary layup question like, so how has it been in the offseason? Has it been really hard? I'm exaggerating here. And yeah, it's been great. And they give you the elementary answers. And then the fans that are watching get nothing. So I appreciate the questions you present. I appreciate the ones that Sal presents that brings it back onto the topic at hand. And it's just more showing love. But at the same time, as a fan as well, you get frustrated. But anyways, I'm off that rant. I just wanted to get that off my chest, and we off that. So that being said, Marcel, you have given me almost an hour of your time. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything the gems you've dropped on us right now. I'm going to give you an opportunity to drop anything that you're into right now. Is there charities that you're into? Is there a hip hop artist that you're trying to get everybody to listen to right now? What's going on?
Not necessarily. You know, I just ask that, you know, everybody continue to listen. Just continue to listen to each other. Sometimes you don't know. There's unknown unknowns out there. You know, like, what is that? That's Pulp Fiction, right? There's known knowns and there's known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. So just accept the fact that, like, sometimes people have perspectives. Sometimes people have experiences that you are not personally familiar with. And please accept the fact that, you know, it's just now becoming acceptable to talk about that. And it's just, you don't know how refreshing it is sometimes just to have people listen. You don't have to comment. You don't have to say, I've never seen, but what about? Please don't say, but what about? Just listen to people.
Yep.
We've got, you know, just listen to people. Everything else really is kind of irrelevant at this point. So, you know, accept the fact that, like I said, people have had tough experiences. Certain things, like, for example, like at Oliver, man, I thought that was so important because such a common critique of athletes who protest or speak out on social issues is, but you're rich, but you're famous, but you made it, but you're successful. Okay, but none of that helped Ed that night in Montgomery County with 5 police officers around. None
of that matters when you're this colorless sometimes.
Exactly. Like, sometimes it really doesn't matter. Like, sometimes it can. Like, sometimes, you know, I am sure that the rich and famous have gotten out of things that the average person won't. But just please realize that, you know, they might be rich, famous, successful athletes, but they're still human beings at the end of the day. These are still, for the most part, these are still Black men at the end of the day, and they still have gone through or go through similar issues or stereotypes or you know, or prejudices that you and I do. So, you know, just, you know, like I said, listen to people when they talk, because
I love that, man.
They're coming from a place of experience.
Now, before we get out of here, Scott Blakey's got a fantastic question that a lot of people are wondering. Who will they protect on this increased practice squad?
You know, these questions are hard right now, man. Like, I put out a 53-man projection about a month ago, and I'm going to be completely honest. I don't even take it seriously because we haven't seen these men on the field since January. I don't know who put in that work on the offseason. I don't know who came in here you know, who's faster, who's stronger, who worked on their footwork, who worked on their hands, who can cover now. So it's really hard to say. So let's table that question. I will say I think Christian Wade spends another year on the practice squad.
I do, and they probably protect Duke Williams.
I think they try to protect Duke Williams. They try. It does sound like there is a window from end of game Sunday until I think it is Tuesday morning, where, you know, guys can still be claimed, guys can still be poached. Absolutely. So there's protection, but, you know, it comes with a little asterisk, because there is a chance that guys get poached. But
we'll table it.
We're going to table this. We're going to table this until we've seen a couple weeks of practice, man.
And I hope that we get to do this another time. I know it's going to start getting busy with you. I had a lot of fun today with you, man. You are a real one. You are legit. The people know it. You're going to get a lot of love on Twitter right now. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're a real one for sure. So there's a way that I usually sound out, and I don't do this normally, but I'd like to get your incorporation in this. I want your feedback on this. So I normally tell them I do my spiel and I get out of here. All I need to hear from you is, and I'm gone. That's all I need to hear from you. And then we sign out. Are you in?
All right. I'm gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great one. It's my guy, Marcel, Louis Jacques, and your boy Rico. And this is the Rico Report. You got me screwing up. And it's been a great night. It's been a fantastic night. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. And it's your boy.
And I'm gone.
That's my guy. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great night, and we'll catch you on the flip side.